14,071. How to accept the ancestral line of our parents. Part 2 of 2.
From now on, if you want to stop performing ancestral rites, Jessa, there must be a clear justification. To be able to stop, you need a justification. Just as performing an ancestral rite means you are kneeling and bowing before them. For a person to kneel and bow, there must be a valid justification to do so. If you say, I don't want to kneel and bow, there must be a reason why. What happens if you have a proper justification? You can tell them, from now on, I will not kneel and bow to our grandparents and ancestors. However, because our grandparents and ancestors harbor deep grievances and cannot leave this world due to their attachments, I will study this and resolve those grievances for you. I cannot kneel and bow from now on. I must study. If we are expected to blindly repeat the habits of the past world, my own study will not progress, so I cannot do it. You must present a clear, definitive justification. And from now on, tell them not to be attached to food, and not to be attached to receiving bows from their descendants. The descendants should find the answers and resolve the ancestors' grievances. If we continue like this, kneeling, bowing, and repeating these rituals, the ancestors will remain stuck because spirits are simple. If you keep praying to them, the spirit begins to think that being prayed to is exactly what is supposed to happen. It is just like how people constantly cling to Jesus. They believe that clinging is the correct way. To use an analogy of how they think, even Jesus is suffering right now. Jesus is currently suffering from human ignorance. Siddhartha Buddha is also suffering because of the spirit's habit rooted in human ignorance. Is that truly for the sake of the Buddha? And is that for the sake of Jesus? Even after 1,000 years, the spirit of Jesus has not achieved liberation. Even after 1,000 years, the spirit of Buddha has not achieved liberation. Because we continuously pray and cling to our past ancestral spirits to help us, these entities fall into that trap and cannot escape. Are we truly doing this for the sake of those gods right now? Is it truly for the sake of our ancestors? By constantly asking them for help, praying and bowing for things like, please let our son pass the college entrance exam this time, we keep holding on to them, which prevents them from achieving liberation. It is all because of that attachment. On top of that, in some places, people place a pig's head, or they put up pig's feet to trick them. If 4 feet and a head go up on the altar, they think a whole pig has been offered. Spirits get tricked by this. If you make up nice words and do that, they accept it, and since they were asked to help, they help again. Is that truly receiving real help? If our child lacks the ability to get into college, is it right to ask them to ensure the child fails? Or is it right to ask them to let the child in, even if they lack the merit? If you do the latter, you are not acting as an intellectual. You must tell your child, you must go to college based on your own ability. Do not try to get help from gods, and do not try to cheat off anyone. Taking an exam right now is to see whether your ability is sufficient or not. So face it with confidence. This is how we should prevent the ancestors from interfering. If ancestors tell you which answer to pick or what to write during an exam, would that make any sense? You might as well be cheating together. Eliminating these kinds of superstitious practices is how we glorify the spirit of our ancestors. Correcting these errors and establishing the laws of nature, things that our ancestors could not achieve, is the exact task we, the Hongyik humanitarian leaders, must fulfill. It was always said to glorify the spirit of the ancestors. This means to resolve the ancestors' grievances. Resolving it means correcting things and helping them understand correctly, so they can let go of attachments and achieve liberation. That is true ancestral help. We should be researching and correcting these things, but instead, people just keep wandering here and there. When they are told, pray here, they ask, what should I pray to this time? And when told, this time, pray to the thousand-armed Avalokitesvara Cheonsu Guanium, they pray there again. If you waste your whole life like that, you become a Banari, a beggar supplicant. Literally translated, a Banari means someone who dies while doing nothing but praying. What this Yungbub Grand Master's law study is doing right now is explaining the principles of nature. If you understand this, you put it into practice. If you try it and still don't know, you can learn more. From now on, let us tell the ancestors, do not hold on to attachments anymore, and let us study together. If I, a descendant and practitioner listening to Yungbub, do not propose, let's study together. These spirits will never study. I am the practitioner and descendant who guides this study. If you declare, to all our grandparents and ancestors, I am currently studying Yungbub, so let's study together, then the path to their education opens up completely. The path opens only when a living practitioner suggests studying. Spirits cannot open the path unless humans open it for them. That is the role of descendants and practitioners. I must open that path. Therefore, if you are genuinely happy to have found the truly correct study, what have you found? If you say, from now on, everyone please participate and study this Yungbub diligently, then when you listen, they will also hear it. This opens up the energy where human words overlap. The energy of human speech is non-material energy. No matter how microscopic the mass of an energy is, it is material energy. What operates material energy is non-material energy. In the universe, there are two types of energy, material energy and non-material energy. Material energy, no matter how microscopic, is still material energy. What operates this material energy is non-material energy. We call these gods or spirits. There is God and there are gods. Each person is an individual god. However, what we call the single, ultimate God refers solely to the entire body of material energy. To use a verbal analogy, the only one. What does this mean? All matter in the great universe is fundamentally connected. Once we shed our physical bodies and separate, the self becomes non-material. It becomes soul energy. This is non-material energy. Now, if we just remain as non-material energy, no change or growth occurs. However, because it merged with matter, because it merged with the physical body of God, we are receiving this assistance from God so that we can discern things and further increase our quality and mass. God is not separated from us. All matter is fully connected. Even though the particles of matter appear different, they are all connected as one whole. Therefore, no matter how different the particles of matter in the universe are, they are connected as one giant organism. That is why it is called the Only One. It is given the name God Haniunim. This is the reality. We cannot be separated from God. While non-material energy is unique and individual, it exists in an inseparable relationship with God's physical body and particles. No matter where you hide, you can never be separated from God. Whether you are in the bathroom or trapped inside thick lead, you are always with God. Therefore, God is an entity to be understood for what he is, not a being to beg and pray to. Therefore, because we, the Hongik Ingan leaders, who must unravel all of these concepts and provide the education to lead humanity into the future, are currently wandering, all of humanity is wandering with us. The time given to us to share and research these studies, the time to cultivate ourselves and find the path, was about 50 years out of a 70-year block. But we didn't do that. We clung strictly to what arose within conventional knowledge and logic. Because information came to us based purely on existing knowledge, we spent a few years doing it this way, a few years doing it that way, and another few years a different way. And 30 to 50 years just slipped by. That is why everyone is struggling so much right now. Now, to organize and clean this up, we are conducting this research and study. Once I teach you the basics, many things will begin to unravel for you. If you untangle it a bit like this, ask questions to untangle more, and then ask again to untangle even more, after doing this a few times, you will realize, this is what the environment called nature is truly like. Who are we within nature? We are the masters of nature. We are gods who live while managing nature beautifully. Since we are doing this study right now, even if I want to unravel much more for the person who asked the question, I cannot do so due to time constraints. But even if you only know these basics, do not get attached or cling to anything. Treat everything as your own study. Just move forward by saying, thank you, I did not know. As you understand a bit more, say, since I am studying, let us all study together. Your spoken words are what matter most. If you understood what I am teaching you today, say those exact words to your ancestors and spirits. Everyone, please, study now. Do not be attached anymore. If you do this consistently a few times and notice that the spiritual signs or symptoms pyojok that used to disrupt your life have completely vanished, it means they are successfully studying. Solve and clear your ancestral lines in this manner.